And I've seen a lot of cops, I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all the stops. I've seen a lot of children with their parents in their hands. I've felt a lot of women who refuse to understand. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take the world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take you for your money whatever else spring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. Guitar Players Planet. 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 Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the land of new.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to AstroWorld TV. Oh, why do we got music going on again? There we go. It's gone. Oh, I'm on a feedback loop. That's why. Okay, I'm listening to the YouTube, not the live.
Oops.
So we're here and we made it, and we're about 9 minutes late, which is not bad considering I'm running the show again while I'm trying to do this. Yeah, exactly. let me let me go just do one thing first because I'm on a backlog here. So let me put this on mute. There we go. And now I can see you and hear you.
Nice.
Uh,
You good?
yes.
All right.
All right. There we go. I know I got a little bit of me on the background. I think we're good. Mark and Tyler is here. Calzoon is here. J-Man. How you doing, guys? Thank you for coming down and hanging out with us for a little bit tonight.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we do have Simon's introduction. Well, not really his introduction, but his first presentation with AstroWorld. He made a nice little video regarding the Southern Sky, and we're going to be calling it Southern Focus. So it's going to be Southern Focus with Simon. So that's going to make its premiere tonight.
Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah, and I think basically it's kind of like I guess it's a dress down Wednesday kind of because we all ran about 5 minutes before the show starts, change our shirts,
Exactly.
and and yeah, you know what are you gonna do? Because I think I got three things going on here with video, and yeah, there we go. Now it's totally off. All right, good. So yeah, I think tonight what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna talk about our misfortunes, I guess, as astrophotographers, as we kind of not necessarily misfortunes, but things we struggle with, as far as either whether that be equipment issues or just plain old stupidity, like I've had a couple of them this weekend, and we're gonna talk about that. So Eric, I know that you've had some issues or been some learning curves
Yep.
as
I
far as the
definitely have.
Rasa is concerned. So I know it's not only you. I know that you and I spoke offline right before the show that a lot of people are having not issues but just a larger learning curve
Yep.
with dealing with the Rasa and the intricacies of the Rasa. So
Yes.
why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're dealing with and what you've learned from other people?
Okay. So with the Rasa, and I'm specifically talking about the Rasa 8 astrograph from Celestron. Um, for one, this is a fantastic astrograph. I absolutely love it. This is probably my main scope. Out of all the scopes I have, this is the one I probably use the most. But that being said, there are some issues or known issues, and I believe from what I've understood, it's more with the first version, the V1 of the Rasa 8, and it deals with tilt. And what tilt is, it's basically your sensor either is slightly off. Your camera sensor is slightly skewed from when you're threading and mounting it to the Rasa. You can get some noticeable tilt issues, and usually what happens is when that with that tilt is you notice it usually around the edges of your frame, your light frames. It's not perfectly flat. Okay. And I'm going to give you some examples of what I mean. So if I can share my screen here.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. What I have here is a file or a piece of software called ASAP. which is astrophotography. It's an astrophotography tool for stacking. And what you're seeing is an image currently of my recent Soul Nebula that I recently.
I remember that image.
Yeah, and but no, this is the image I want to show you. It's this guy. It is, I believe it is right here. And if I go to, if you use this, it's kind of cool. You can go to Tools, and it uses a CCD inspector. Take a second. That can happen. As you notice, you can, the tilt, you can go very askew in certain edges.
Oh my God.
So this can happen. And unfortunately, what has kind of corrected mine for now is this was simply the plate, that it's a M42 plate and a retaining ring. It was slightly loose, so you might want to make sure it's loose, that it's secure. Don't over tighten it, but make sure it's secured. And I also use a Star Arizona filter slider with my 533s and my 294. But when I was mounting that filter slider and camera combo into the onto the Rasa, this can tend to happen. So it was slightly askewed, and it makes your images look like crap. Just to be to be blunt, just to be straight up honest with you guys. That was then, and then when I reseated everything, we'll open that up. And that's the wrong one, I believe. I think it was number 10. It's this guy. It's loading. Okay, number 10. And you do the same thing. Now, by just me reseating it, you can definitely notice the difference. There is some tilt still.
Yeah.
It's not a totally flat frame, but this is one of the dilemmas of that many of us Rasa 8 owners are dealing with. So many people are wondering is, when is the Bader Planetarium going to come out with their much anticipated filter changer for the Rasa 8? And right now I have noticed that it is on their website. However, they don't have a dollar amount yet. So they haven't officially
I think you said that there was
get it out in the market.
Yeah, I think you said it was coming out. It came out, but I think you said that last week.
Yeah, I thought it was coming out last week. I thought it was actually out, but if you go to the Bader website, you can see the FCCT, but there's no price tag. And just as an FYI, if you are thinking about getting the FCCT, I did email Bader, and the slider itself, it will only take unmounted filters. So just be prepared whenever this comes out, just be prepared, because they use a 3D printed slide cartridge that it will not accept mounted filters. So they were saying it's an issue. If you use a mounted, it causes back focus issues.
Oh, okay.
So and speaking of back focus, this is what the big deal is with the Rasa. Is I'm looking at the Rasa manual, and I'm talking to friends on the Rasa on the Rasa forums and on Facebook, and there's several different back focus measurements. So you don't know which is right. Now, I'm using the M42 adapter. So according to the manual, the back focus has to be 25 millimeter.
Okay.
And I think there's really no room for error. That's one of the crazy things is like there is no wiggle room when it comes to the RASA. When you're dealing with this type of telescope, this speed, there is no wiggle room or or a space for any type of slight error. So what I've been researching is how can I get to that 25 millimeter sweet spot. Now I am waiting right now. I purchased and waiting, and I'm waiting for the ZWO's T2 tilter that you can mount onto 533s, 294s, 1600s, and it has a 11 millimeter thickness. So it's 11 millimeters thick. So, and from the front of, and the camera itself is actually, it's a T2 thread. Once you take off that 11, the 11 inch adapter, it's a female adapter. It's T2. When you take that off, and to the camera itself, from the front of the camera to the sensor is 6.5 millimeter. So there's 17.5. Now the question is now, so you have 17.5. You're about 6, if I'm not mistaken, about 6.5 millimeters off right now. Then you're off. So one thing that I have found is that there is on Amazon a T2 to M42. It is M42 female and T2 male.
Okay.
Because both sides of the tilter are female. So, and that is approximately, according to Amazon, I haven't gotten it yet, it's 6 millimeter. So that should put me around 23, maybe 24 millimeter. And then you can simply, if you have any of the ZWO adapters, the paper thin adapters that they come with ZWOs, or you can order them. They're just paper thin. It may be about 0.5 millimeter or anything like that. Sometimes they're like 1 millimeter. You can put that on your camera or on the RASA itself. And if you use that, it'll get you to the 25 millimeter where you want to be. So I'm waiting for that tilter. I ordered it from OPT, but I ordered it it's shipping post office. So that could take a while,
Yes,
So, and I ordered the adapter from Amazon. So once I get these pieces and I break out my caliper, then I'll be able to measure things out and see if I'm right there. Now, what about the filter? What I've actually done is I have removed when I first got the RASA, I actually removed the glass, the initial glass. There is an optical cell with clear glass that you can actually remove, and you can actually put the RASA's light pollution filter in there. You can screw it into this optical cell. But however, right now I have the RASA Connect. I have the RASA downstairs, and as a test, I am using the Optilong L Pro.
Okay.
Inside the filters, inside the optical cell. Okay. And initially it is loose. I had some issues. But what turned out is that the Optilong ring, the retaining ring for the filter that's on top, you can actually unscrew that and you remove the filter. It actually fits. It's the same thread as the RASA optical cell. So I was able to put that in and slowly using a toothpick tightened it up, and it's nice and tight and secure. So I'm not worried about any type of movement of the L Pro. And I also heard that the L Extreme and the L Enhance are very similar thickness of the Celestron LP filter, because I think the Celestron LP filter is around 1.9 millimeter thickness, and the L Enhance and L Extreme are about 2 millimeter thickness.
Okay.
So I should not have any problem securing those into the cell.
Not if it's a millimeter or a half millimeter off.
No. So I don't think I'll have a problem. And then I'll go ahead and secure them. So I secure that directly into the optical cell of the RASA instead of using my filter, my filter slider. Right. And then I can use this tilter and everything and connect everything to get that 25 millimeter back focus. And then I'll just have to start taking some pictures, put them into the stacking program that I just showed you, and see where I have to start making my adjustments.
Yeah, sure.
And then see where, how close, I can get using that tilter. I can get a true flat field. So,
well, you're never gonna be at zero. It's not gonna happen unless you have, But if you're under if you're in single digits on the tilt, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. It's just super important, especially when you're dealing with, if you're starting to see that one corner of the picture as the stars are out of focus, and then the opposite corner is in perfect focus. That's a telltale sign of a tilt issue.
Yes.
Where you're going to have to say, okay, you know what, the focal plane of the telescope is not it's not square to the chip.
Right.
So that's what tilt is. So when you're like that, then you're going to sit there. Whoa, that was weird.
What's that? That's weird.
You just flashed at me. You were red light district. But absolutely, and that's one of the things that is very, very now Eric, looks like Mark is talking about is that a pain in the butt to swap out each time when you're putting it in the cell like that?
Well, it just depends. It wasn't difficult at all. Of course you have to be careful, but if you're using a one-shot color, it's not going to be that big of a deal, because you can plan for whatever target you're going to go after. You won't have to keep swapping out filters like you would with an LRGB with a mono.
Right.
So you won't have that concern if you're using a one-shot color, which is what I use. I use one-shot colors. So for me right now, it's not a concern. But that's why I'm also very anxious to get my hands on that Beta FCCT. Yep. So when I'm finally ready to go back to mono or start using mono, and I need and I need those sliders, then hopefully that'll be out on the market soon. So
yeah, absolutely. That's gonna probably I've been having my own trial and error with the. I thought it was going to be super easy. It turned out to be a super pain in the butt. But the William Optics rotator, the manual rotator.
Yep.
So I have been going back and forth with adapters and every. I mean, it's been a horror show. I got so much more adapters from this project that I don't need.
Jeez.
I mean, it's incredible. So it's 63 millimeters on both sides. So on my focuser side, I'm 68.
Mm-hmm.
And on my camera side, I'm 65. I'm sorry, my flattener side, I'm 65.
Okay.
So my flattener side, I'm 65. So I'm sitting there and I'm going. So it's me and I believe Simon. We're going back and forth. We're talking about flatteners and how to screw it on. He showed me his, and didn't realize that he was talking about a 100 millimeter flattener, and I'm talking about an 80 millimeter flattener. So I bought some adapters based on his recommendation. And
you guys are off.
And that didn't work. So I got two adapters there. So the 68 for the Moonlight worked. That was fine. So I got 68 to 63. No problem. Everything's fine. but nobody makes a 63 to 65.
No.
Nobody makes it. So what Simon told me to do was to go get a 63 to 68 the other way from Stellar View, which I purchased,
Mm-hmm.
and then get another 68 to 65, which is another adapter he told me to get from, I forget, from somewhere else that had it. So I bought those two, and that didn't work. I said, well, why am I buying these two adapters when I could just buy one at Precise Parts
Right.
to kind of do it? So it turned out that all said and done, I have about 7 different adapters now that costed as much. When you put it all together with the cost of the rotator, it costs just as much as a Moonlight automatic rotator. But you know what? I got to be honest with you. I love how this works now. I spent $149 on the Precise Parts adapter that got me down 2 millimeters, and it's perfect. It works great. I just, from now on, I think I'll just go to Precise Parts and get it instead of going back and forth. But I mean, I'm telling you, you may pay a little bit more for it, but it worked perfectly. The threads matched up wonderfully. All I did was go to their website. And for anybody who doesn't know who Precise Parts is, now Precise Parts literally is that they will make any adapter that you want to fit any piece of equipment to any piece of equipment. They'll make it as short or as long as you want to make it. Of course, longer costs more money because it's more material. But you don't even have to know the millimeters of what you need. You just need to know the equipment that you want.
Right.
So if you say I have a Williams Optics manual rotator and I have an a Skywatcher flattener,
Mm-hmm.
you put one side, the other side, you tell them how long you want it to do, and they make it for you. That's it. It's done.
Nice.
And they'll guarantee that part will fit those 2 items, and if it doesn't, they'll take it back for a full refund.
Nice. That's pretty cool. That is cool.
You pay for it. You pay for it. I mean, it's expensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, literally, my adapter was the shortest I can make it. So I think it was about 4 millimeters. But I didn't want any space. So there's only a 1 millimeter space in between the both sides. So there's not a lot of back focus added on.
Okay.
So that little adapter weighs probably like a half an ounce. This big. Costs $149.
Wow. But you pay for it,
But you know what you're getting though.
But you know what you're getting. So that's a good thing to know, especially, even with my, Rasa tilt dilemma. When I get this tilter, who knows? Maybe if this Amazon part doesn't work and I don't want to use these extra, like thin filter, thin spacers or anything like that, I may consider, reaching out to Precise Parts to get the right T2 to M42 adapter.
Yep.
To give me that, to get me that 25 millimeter back focus that I'm looking for. So good call out there.
You know what I'll do? I'll show you the screen here on it, and there you see parts. There we go. So
what do you got?
And I'll do that, and then I'll do that, and then I'll do that. And do you see the Precise Parts website?
I'm waiting for it to come up. Yep, there it is. Yep, right, I see it.
So here you go. Here's the Precise Parts. It's preciseparts.com, just the way it's right here. And all you really do, here's the telescope side, here's the camera side, or left side, right side, whichever way you want. It doesn't necessarily need to be a telescope. It could be a focuser. It could be whatever. It could be your filter slider. It could be whatever.
Right.
So you could sit there and go, okay, well, you know what? My telescope side was a Skywatcher. So I just go to Skywatcher. And camera side is this side was Moonlight. And this side was Skywatcher. Okay, and you go next, and then you go what? Now it tells you, well, what do you want to hook up to? The who makes it, Now you
Yep.
select the device. So I have a 2.5 inch. Let's say I'll just throw what is it? Let's do Eric's Nightcrawler. There you go. And we're gonna do the Flattener M74. Let's say that's not necessary. Now, if you want it as short as you can make it, you can put
Yeah.
0, and they'll just make it as small as they can make it.
Okay.
If you need longer, you can do whatever you want. 21, not inches, millimeters. You know, you can do whatever you want, but just so you know, I'll even show you the cost differential. And you build that. And there you go, $161 for that adapter. And that's what it looks like. And it gives you a nice little 3D kind of thing.
Wow. Nice.
And that's what it'll look like. And then so just so you know, if you wanted something bigger, the adapter length, let's say you wanted 10 millimeters.
Yep.
Now, oh what? No, they won't make one 10 millimeters. I'm sorry, okay. And someone, let's see, start over, and then we'll just do whatever. And Moonlight and Skywatcher next. And maybe they won't make it 10 millimeters long, but. Let's say 5. So now they just added $5 more to it.
Okay.
And so as it does get bigger, they do add price onto it. But just so
Yep.
you know, just read the fine print here. Okay? Read the fine print here. This part can be ordered online, blah, blah, blah. Currently, a custom adapter can be shipped within 26 business days.
Yep. So it's going to take a while.
Okay, so it's going to take a while. So just I actually got mine in under 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks.
Okay.
But they put that out there just so that they know if they're backed up, then they're covered. You know. So,
Right.
But you know what? It's aluminum, nice. It's good stuff. It's good material. So definitely something to look into if you need a custom adapter.
Okay. Well, this is awesome. So I'll have to check this out. I will definitely have to check this out.
Let's see. Jay said that's the cost of getting it right. Tim's online. He said good evening.
Hey.
Stopped in to listen for a bit. Had no questions. Can we talk about QHY versus ZWO? I've always shied away from QHY cameras. Wow. Well, you know what? I mean, QHY and ZWO are very, very similar. It's really
Very
like
similar.
they're almost exactly the same as Coke and Pepsi, man. You know.
Yeah.
It's like Canon, Nikon. I mean, you
Yep.
know, they're really very similar. They use the same chips.
Yes, they do.
You know, QHY just has, you know, ZWO has just totally taken this, you know, astrophotography by storm.
Yeah, the CMOS market that ZWO and QHY are in. Yeah, ZWO has just taken this whole thing by storm with the ASI Air, with the new products that are coming out with all these adapters, with the EAF. You know, QHY, from what I can tell, they focus more on their cameras, whereas ZWO, they have just a plethora of different types of products that you can choose from. And QHY, I mean, if you're using a ZWO, like an ASI Air, you're basically like me. You're a ZWO customer until you decide to make a change away from
Until
the
you
ASI
get an
Air
Eagle.
Pro. Yeah, and if you want to go to the Eagle or anything like that, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're basically like Dan said, they're like Coke and Pepsi. I mean, ZWO is Coke because they're red.
Well, I guess so. You know what, and you know, Jay's right when he says, you know, it is different firmware. Yeah, absolutely, it's different.
there is.
You know, it's going to be different firmware. It's different producers. But you know what, when it comes down to it, I have a QHY 163 and I've used it. The only issue that I had with the 163 is that nose piece that it has. It was kind of funky putting an adapter on it. If the adapter didn't have short enough threads, it wouldn't catch on. It would just keep on spinning, which was kind of annoying. But once I figured out I mean, that's cosmetic, to be honest with you. But I mean, as far as performance is concerned,
Right.
you know, it's the same performance. And you know, the unfortunate thing is that, you know, QHY, you can't, you could use that with more things. ZWO, you're stuck with ZWO.
Yeah, unless you don't get the ASI Air, and if
Correct.
you're using SGP, Nina, you're using the Eagle, Sharp Cap, then they're all basically, they have ASCOM and Indie drivers, so they're all compatible with that. But if you decide to go with the ASI Air Pro, then yes, then you have to basically, because everything's proprietary with that, with the ASI Air Pro, then you have to stick with that. Unless you can use a DSLR with ASI Air Pro, but your guide scope and your guide camera, if you're going to do guiding, it has to be a ZWO camera. So that's just basically it. There's really not much difference to them.
You know, there's little intricacies with
very minor things,
but for the most part, I mean, it is the same chip. The problem, I somebody mentioned something about. I saw somebody mention something about the cooling process. The cooling process is different, but I believe the delta is the same.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure that the delta is the same as far as how much further below ambient you could get with each camera. I think it's pretty close to the same.
Yeah.
SCP is Sharp Cap Pro. I'm sorry.
Sharp Cap Pro.
I wasn't sure what the SCP was.
Yeah,
I thought it was
SGP. Either one.
Yeah.
Two of them.
Sharp Cap Pro is really good.
Yeah, it is.
It's really good, but to me, it's not as functional as SGP.
Right.
SCP's autofocus routine's a little bit annoying, even though it does actually have one. That was a shot at ZWO. Sorry, the Sharp Cap's really good. Sharp Cap's really good.
Especially for the price. I mean,
it's $15 for a year, right?
For a year. I mean, and I spent, a little bit over, maybe about $60 for a 5-year license, maybe a little bit more than that for a 5-year license, and it's awesome for the stuff that I do with it because you get the polar alignment and all these other really cool features for that amount of money compared to an SGP or something similar to that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I use the honestly, I only use Sharp Cap for the polar alignment routine and the sensor analysis.
Yep.
That's the only things that I use it for because I'm so engrossed in Sequence Generator Pro.
Yep.
That I just don't want to learn anything else.
Yeah.
I
hear you. And I'm the same way. I'm very much the same way. I mean, I've used Sharp Cap when I first got started in astrophotography. I used it a lot. I still use it. I don't use it as much now with the ASI Air, but I did use it quite a bit for polar alignment. Now I'm using it more often for, like you, sensor analysis, and I'm also using a smart histogram tool to help me determine, get some good ideas on my exposures and gain settings. But it has its uses. It definitely has its uses, and I enjoy the software. It's great software.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's unfortunate that SBIG is very I hate to say it, prissy, I guess. That they won't allow their software developers kit out so that it can become compatible with other software like Sharp Cap and stuff like that because
it's just like with Sony.
Sony's the same thing with their mirrorless cameras.
With their cameras.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying. I don't know why you would not want to, plunge into that type of market.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess they have their reasons. I mean, I think that SBIG in particular with their release of their new CMOS camera,
Right.
I think that's going to be good, but it's still that comes down to the software, and that's one of the things that is making me. And I love my SB camera. I'll probably never sell it, but it's something that's going to make me change in the future because I'm going to want something that is more adaptable to what if I want to change something in my rig, I don't want to deal with, I need an S big filter wheel. Maybe I want to throw an Arco on my rig, and I can't,
Right.
But let's see. We'll do Mark. Thanks. I have a ZWO for polar alignment, but looking into getting another imaging camera. Seems like QHY is cheaper sometimes than ZWO. It usually is. Because they're trying to compete in a massively flooded market by ZWO.
Yep.
However, you probably, and I hate to say this, you're probably going to get better support and better access to forums and support from other members that are using them. You're probably going to get that more with ZWO than you are with QHY.
Yeah, you probably will.
I'm not say probably. You definitely will because I hate to say I'm not trying to say I'm either QHY or ZWO, but there's more resources out there for ZWO than there is QHY right now.
Right.
I see some QHYs for sale and part of a buy one get one free sale.
Was that a thing?
I don't know. What? I never heard that before. If it was buy one get one free, I would just do it just to have it.
Yeah. And you really don't hear much about a buy one get one free from any of these companies.
Nah, not for cameras. Maybe it was for their ring adapters or something.
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know, Tim. If you got it, put it up because I'd love to see that. Well, it depends on what country you're talking about, advertisement or advertisement.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's see. I see posting Cloudy Nights where they had a color and a mono. Okay, well,
that's a possibility.
Yeah, but it was probably like $4,000.
Yeah.
If they're doing two cameras and they're both, they're both fairly big chips.
Yep.
There was a sale that was buy a 600 and get 30% off another. Okay, all right, yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
That's possible. So we do have for everybody that's interested, we do have Simon Lewis's video, and it runs about 20 minutes. So we're gonna run that really quick, I guess, and we'll be watching the comment on the chat boxes. I think we could still put our audio on over it, but I don't think that would be cool. But we're going to look at that, and we're going to have what Simon's talking about. And he's going to be talking about some imaging in the night sky in the southern hemisphere.
Let's check it out.
All right, let me set this up. And well, I can't spell September apparently. All right. And let's see, this and this. And sorry about the craziness for a second, but here you go. You got audio?
Let me see here. Give it a go. Yep.
Okay.
Hold on. Nope, there is no audio.
No audio?
Nope, there isn't.
Hold on. I pause it. Really? No audio?
Nope, no audio yet.
I have it on pause, so hold on. All right. That should work.
I'm still not hearing anything. Still nothing.
Oh, come on. What's going on?
Nah, man.
Let's do it this way. Oh, Jay's trying to help me, and
Yeah. Oh, go straight to the source. Okay.
yeah.
Hi and welcome to Southern Focus here on AstroWorld TV. My name's Simon. I'm an astroimager here on the South Island in New Zealand in the city of Christchurch, and I'll be your guide to our amazing southern skies this evening. August is a transition month here in the Southern Hemisphere. Winter hasn't quite left us and spring hasn't quite arrived yet either. The familiar winter sky objects along the Milky Way are setting earlier in every day, and as winter progresses, our summer targets are not really rising until just before dawn. It can be a little daunting at times finding something that you can image all night, but with a little patience you can still find some fabulous objects to image. It's said that the southern skies have some of the finest deep sky objects for astrophotography. And while that might be partially true, I suspect many southern imagers would instantly grab a chance to capture some of those beautiful objects in the north. To whet your appetite for the southern sky, I'm going to take you on a tour of 5 great imaging targets in August and tell you what you need to know to capture some stunning images of these. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this video is useful, and stay tuned to AstroWorld TV for more news, reviews and information on how you can improve your astrophotography. So here we have the night sky just around 9 p.m. here, looking to the south from my location here in Christchurch. And as you can see, the Milky Way is overhead already, and many of the targets that you would normally look for, like the Carina Nebula, are already over here into the western sky and already heading for the horizon. So we're looking for something that is on the east side of the south and will actually be starting to rise. And so our first target is located just here. It's a large boiling mass of gas known as the Large Magellanic Cloud. And this object is actually visible via the naked eye on moonless nights, along with a smaller sister satellite galaxy, which is the Small Magellanic Cloud, which is just up here as well, but very close by it. And they're quite easy to see both of these on a moonless night. So the target we're looking for, it's located here in the Large Magellanic Cloud, and it's a target that's known as NGC 2070, or more commonly known as the Tarantula Nebula. This is a target that's rich in narrowband and would suit bicolor images, and the great thing about this is it suits a wide variety of focal lengths. So you can image this with a DSLR lens at say 135mm is even wider, and you're able to image the whole of this object and all of the little wispy bits around the edges. What's great about this area is there is so much to image, not just the tarantula, but all of these areas are all bubbling away as well. Some of them are some fantastic bicolor images out of here. You can also shoot this with a medium focal length as well, to say something in the range of around 400 to 600 millimeters, like an 80 or 100 millimeter refractor, and you can focus here onto the tarantula itself. Or if you want, you can shoot something longer, like a Newtonian, or even a longer focal length refractor, and get really up close with the cosmic spider. This object is now rising after sunset as well, so it's a great object if you want to image all night, and it's worthy spending something 20 hours or more on some of the targets in this area. Our second object on the list is rising early in the evening skies now, and will give you an all-night window for imaging. And it's a very famous object. It's a very large planetary nebula that offers imaging for both colour cameras, but it's also a fabulous object to observe in narrowband. And this object suits longer focal lengths. So if you have a bigger refractor, Newtonian or Cassegrain, then this is definitely one for you, as the object is fairly small, but it's definitely worthwhile spending time on. Now, I don't think many astronomers will not know the Helix Nebula, or it's very famous, also known as the Eye of God. It appears on many astronomy posters, and it's located here in Aquarius, and it's around 650 light years from Earth, and is formed by a star at the center of its core, shedding its outer layers as it nears the end of its life. The central star is very energetic. That causes the expelled gases to fluoresce, and the gas is expanding at around 30 kilometers a second. So this is definitely one you want to spend time on, and you can get some good images of the helix. And if you see this beautiful outer wispy layer, if you know you've done a really good job imaging this, if you can see this. And if you get a long enough focal length, you'll be able to image these absolutely beautiful knots that surround the central disk, and they create this beautiful blue wispy center to this amazing target. So this is definitely one to look out for. It's a good one to catch right now, and of course you can image this in color. A good time will be right now, as the new moon is today. And if you image in narrowband, of course, then you're able to image this one throughout the month using the hydrogen and sulfur filters, and get this beautiful target. It turns into this very beautiful blue and red and orange color. So look out for that one. Our third and fourth objects are located in Scorpio, and both are reflection targets, and two very well known deep sky objects for astrophotographers. Both suit wide field imaging, or you can do mosaics on these two very successfully if you have longer focal lengths on either of these objects. So object number 3 then needs really no introduction. It lies next to the magnitude 1 star Antares, which forms the heart of the Scorpion. And this area is rich in reflection nebulas, and very colourful ones, which reflect in the light of these very bright stars that inhabit this area. And this area here is very well known. It is, of course, Rho Ophiuchi, and if I zoom in closer to this, you'll see that already you can see the colors in this area, but you can also see how wide this area is, and it's most definitely a target for wide field imaging. It's an area of dark nebula and gas, and it covers almost 6 degrees in width, and it's already overhead at sunset at the moment. As we head towards spring, it will certainly drop to the horizon very quickly, but it's quite bright and you don't need very long on it. So if you can get a couple of hours on this with a cooled camera, then you can do pretty well. It drops below 30 degrees at around midnight at the moment, so I would not wait around if you want to image this object. It's setting earlier every day as we head through the month, and within the next month it'll head towards the horizon at sunset. And so by this time next month it'll already be below 30 degrees at 9 p.m. and a month later it'll be gone, because it will be disappearing into the brightness of sunset. So very good one to capture. If you've got a wide field DSLR lens, something like a Samyang 135, that will do very nicely, or even down to an 85mm. It will give you the whole field view of Antares. And of course, if you've got a longer focal length, then you can create a nice mosaic. So if you're using something like Sequence Generator Pro, you can create a couple of panels. I did this very recently using the new ASCAR 400mm refractor, and I did a 2-panel mosaic of this target, which turned out very nicely. But you could certainly get away with doing even 4 panels and get some of the further extremities of this. It's a great target for color cameras. You could use a DSLR for this as well. So if you've got a longer focal length DSLR lens, and even a nice DSLR, then this is worthwhile putting a couple of hours into. So object number 4 on the list then lies very, very close to Rho Ophiuchi and Antares. And if you just come down a little, we will come across this very, very beautiful reflection nebula, which is known as the Blue Horsehead, IC4592. This is very, very famous object, needs no introduction at all. It is a fantastic object for wide field images and color, and definitely suits DSLR lenses and those shorter focal length refractors. So if you've got a something like the ASCAR 400 or a focal reduced 70mm, something like a Stellarvue 70, or some of these lovely 60mm sharp stars, then this is absolutely the object for you. This beautiful shaped nebula is well suited to moonless nights, with the bright reflection nebula illuminated by these bright stars. And of course, nothing to do with Star Wars at all, but the brightest star in here is called Jabba, and the Arabic name translates to the forehead of the scorpion, which is very fitting for this area. The blue hue is caused by the scattering of blue light from the dust located within the nebula. But like Rho Ophiuchi, you need to be grabbing this one right now. It's heading for the horizon, and it'll disappear into the evening glow in the next month or so. So if you've got a wide field rig, or fancy doing a couple of panels of a mosaic, and you can grab this one on a clear moonless night before the next month or so, this is definitely one to capture. And it's well worth spending a couple of hours per panel on this one. It is fairly faint, so you will need to wait for a moonless night, and so we have very few opportunities to catch this during the last throes of winter. So for our final object of this round of Southern Focus, we're going to look at one of my most favourite objects to image in the southern sky. It's a real crown jewel in the catalogue down here, and absolutely one I enjoy imaging. I've imaged it in wide field and sort of mid-range focal lengths, and it's absolutely a fabulous target. Of course, it is NGC 6188. Or the well known as the Fighting Dragons of Ara, and right now it's around 70 degrees above the horizon at sunset, and it'll be around for a little while. So if you want to capture this one, it's well worth having a look at. And you can find this because it's located in the constellation of Norma, and it's here. And it's a very, very distinctive target. It's located towards the galactic core, and it really is a very, very large area of dust and gas. Very recognizable, as you can see the two claws of the dragon fighting away. It's really an object that suits narrowband imaging. So if you want to image this, I would recommend you do it in hydrogen and sulfur, and spend some time on it. It's really worthwhile spending 20 odd hours on this using a narrowband camera. And you'll see that if you image it this long and grab some good data, you'll see that this area in here, particularly around the rim, as it's sometimes actually called, the Rim Nebula, is almost 3D, and will give you a fabulous view. The light from the stars from behind of this gas cloud and dust cloud actually come out looking like rays of the sun behind setting clouds. Anyway, it's very, very worthwhile. If you do this in wide field, you'll see some fantastic shock waves rippling across this. There's some great little planetary nebulas and some really, really strange shaped emission objects around some of these little planetary nebulas. And if you've got a wide field rig, then you can grab this bonus object, which is NGC 6164. This is an incredible looking object, and definitely if you can grab this area in wide field, you can image both of them. Or if you've got a longer focal length, then have a go at 6164 on its own. It's basically a very, very hot luminous O-type star at the center, which is shedding its outer layers. And these outer layers are about 4 light years across. It's very, very bright. I can even see this object when I'm plate solving or doing an autofocus routine in this area. So definitely worthwhile having a look. And 6164, the outer object, is a beautiful blue flower as it expands away from the star. So that's the Fighting Dragons of Ara, and this one's still quite high in the sky at the moment, but it will dive to the horizon as winter progresses, and then you'll have to wait until early 2021 until they rise high enough again in the nighttime hours. So that's 5 targets. I hope you enjoyed these. Get them while you can, and very soon our summer targets will start to appear, and we will start to swing our telescopes towards the north, and the objects that the northern imagers see almost every day will start to appear over our northern horizon. Orion is already rising in the northeast, along with Pleiades, which is known here in New Zealand as Matariki, which is heralds as it rises above the horizon for the first time in July, heralds the start of Maori New Year. So that's a great object for us here as well. Right now it's just in the morning, but we'll return to our evening skies very soon. So I'm briefly going to tell you how to find some of these objects. This program that I'm using is a free download. It's called Stellarium, or it's probably very, very famous, and it's actually updated fairly regularly, and I find it very, very useful. You can even use a plugin and connect this to your telescope and do point and go-tos from it as well. And it's got a great catalogue. You can put comets into this as well. So if you wanted to image some of the comets like Neowise, then this will show you a lot of the cometary targets. It covers planets and also satellites if you care to download them. What I like about it is that you can download a lot of the catalogues. So the Dark Nebula catalogues are all available as free downloads, and you can just then select the objects you want from the catalogue. So well worthwhile. That's Stellarium, and we'll put the links up at the end of this article for you, so you can go and grab those. And before we finish, I would like to show you this wonderful site that I use on a regular basis. It's called Blackwater Skies, and it has in it this fabulous tool which will allow you to find and frame up targets. So if I come across, or you load the site here, blackwaterskies.co.uk/imaging toolbox, you can come and load this. It will also work on tablets, also work on phones as well. So to use this, I've got to move over to here and select. Let me just drag this across to here so I can see it. So what we're going to do is we are going to select the camera. In this case, we are going to use my 1600 ZWO. Telescope, we are going to use my TS Optics 130. So I can find this in here. So the database has quite a lot of objects in it. So here we go. It's the TS photo line 130. And so we're going in there, and we're just going to use the flattener. And there we go. It will tell me the field of view that I can expect to see with my camera based on the pixel size, sensor size, and the focal length of the telescope, including any flatteners or reducers. Now you can then start to just select the target by name, or so for example if I put in Helix Nebula, it will go away and it will drag down an image of the Helix Nebula, and that will tell me what I can expect to see in the frame. Now, I will show you in another video how to use the framing and mosaic tools, for example in SGP, which are absolutely fabulous to do wider multi-paneled objects, but also to do very, very similar on the fly within SGP. The other thing you can do on this, you can also select it by catalog number. So if I selected NGC 2070, which we talked about just a few minutes ago, which is of course the tarantula. If I click on go, there we go. It will show me what the field of view looks like. And the great thing is you can actually rotate around the image, so you can look and frame up your target and see what rotation you would look like. So if you've got a field rotator, a camera rotator on your telescope, then you can use that to frame up your targets. And this is an absolutely fabulous site. There is quite a lot of data into it. One of the things that you can do, for example, you can change the pixel scales in here, so you can change the pixel sizes, and you can change the sensor resolution, the focal length. So if you've got something unusual like a DSLR lens, for example, you can actually change that within here, and you can save and share these. And you can also get the coordinates out of the center of the frame. If you want to make a note of those, then you can put them in a SGP. But I will show you in another video how to use SGP's framing tool, which is an absolute fabulous tool. I know a lot of people who have you know, their own choice of imaging package. It's very much a personal choice, and some people do get very, very sensitive about the package that they use. It's a very similar argument to Canon versus Nikon. I don't particularly mind. I like the simplicity of SGP at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm trying to image. So I'll take you through that in another video and show you how to input your data about your telescope, about your sensor size and pixel sizes to get a good scale. And then I'll show you how to use the framing and mosaic tool to set up sequences to image on the night. Great thing about that is you can come back over multiple nights and image as well, and return to the same place. So that is Blackwater Skies, and is well worth a look. So have a look for that one too.
All right.
All right.
Let me turn up the. I got double audio. Hold on a second. There we go. Yeah, so that was our own Simon Lewis, and I thank Simon for putting that together for us, and hopefully we'll have more about Southern Focus, because I find it real interesting regarding, you know, things that, you know, us in the Northern Hemisphere don't get a chance to see. And as he showed in the first 5 of his list for August and September, the Dragons of Ara, you and I were talking about it offline. I mean, you know, whenever you want to sit there, I'll split it with you. You know,
Okay.
you know, I have no problem doing that, and we could sit there and we could image it, and we could get SLU or whatever, and just take some images, and then we'll just share the data and process it.
There you
know?
go. Because yeah, we were talking about there are so many cool, there's so many great objects up here in the north that we get, but also like Simon said, his point, but to the opposite, there's so many great objects in the south that we don't have an opportunity to see. And the fighting dragons are probably, along with maybe the Karina, is one of my, targets that, I would probably want to put on my bucket list. And I was talking to you, Dan, I would love to have the opportunity to try out one of those internet hosting sites, telescope hosting sites where you can use a telescope that's in the southern hemisphere, and through the internet you can point it to your target. So in this case it would be the fighting dragons, and you can take your images, as many, you have to pay for a certain time period, as many as you can during that time period, and they'll process, and then what they'll do is they'll send you your lights, as well as send you the calibration frames, so then you can then stack and process everything in PixInsight or APP or what have you. So I'm definitely, if you guys are ever thinking about, you wanted to try something like that, let us know. I'd be interested if you guys ever try to do something like that. I'd be interested, to get you guys' thoughts on if you ever get a chance to do something like that. But that's something I'd like to do.
Absolutely.
I never get a chance to go to Australia or New Zealand or even, Chile or something, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, unfortunately, I don't see many of us getting on a plane for a while, but I won't be on a plane for as long as I can not be on a plane.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you convinced me, Eric, in the offline that maybe just because you're borrowing somebody's telescope doesn't necessarily mean you're still doing the processing yourself, and you're still doing it. You're just gathering the data.
Yes.
So I mean, hey, you know what? If there are things that we can't get, I would love to image Omega Centauri.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to image. I would love to image the dragons. I would love to image that blue the blue horse head. And we could probably get that here, but I mean it's really super low. Probably wouldn't be that good to image here.
Yeah.
But hey, actually George just said let's take a trip to Chile. We'll do a bus tour. George, I love you, man. I mean it's crazy, but hey, what? I'll be the first one to get the RV going. So I mean. Hey, yeah, Tim's like, I'm not leaving the ground.
I don't mind it.
I mean, I think that is definitely a better, an opportunity right now to do that. And you know what? In all fairness, the skies down south, you're going to have 30 hours of data in a week.
Yeah.
And 30 hours of data, unless you get a good string in New York, you're talking a couple of weeks, and then you got new moon or full moon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's George said Mexico won't let us in. But you know what I mean. So you're probably gonna get that data really quick. So
yeah. So yeah, and I mean, it's probably not going to cost that much just to use their gear for it, because you buy it in time blocks. And if you're going after a narrow band target like the fighting dragons,
mm-hmm.
You can get that usually, from what I have seen, that is considered probably like a non-peak type of target, because you can take it during the full moon, versus any broadband targets that that you have to get with a broad without, like, in the new moon and stuff like that, which are probably a bit more expensive. That's more peak time is when you get the darker skies. So yeah, I'd be totally up for it. I'll do some investigation, and I'll let you know what I come up with.
Yeah, man, I'm willing to chip in, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll pick 2 or 3 targets, and then
and then just go for it.
we'll have a processing contest. You know,
And see, that's the thing. And that's the thing is that we can have the same data, but we can very well process it completely different.
yeah.
And that's the cool thing that's the big thing right there.
Yeah,
is
because
that-
you know what the thing is, somebody just told me this once that it really is the eye of the beholder when it comes down to processing.
yeah,
And I mean, mine may look great, but it may look like crap to you.
Mhm.
By the same token, I may think it's crap and it may look good to you.
Exactly.
So
So
you
you
know,
can, it's exactly yours. I could say it looks like crap, but all of a sudden you get a call from NASA and says, "Hey, I'm putting up your photo for an APOD."
Yeah.
this month, So
now let's throw this out to the people that are watching. So if you rent your telescope out, or not rent it out, or you buy telescope time through one of those telescope hosters,
yep.
and you process the scope, and you get that call from NASA saying you want to be an APOD, or you sent it in, is that really your photo?
I would say because even though it is not your equipment, you were the one who processed it. And that's what the key difference is because of how it was processed. That's my opinion.
Okay, well, George just put something out there about discontinuing the Space Cat. Well, from what I heard, is it's all on temporary hold. It's not a discontinuing of the actual Space Cat. And I could be wrong about that, and I'll get more.
I'm glad I still have my white cat.
What's that?
I love my white cat. Whenever I use it, I love it. So
Yeah, well, he's getting so many orders for the red cat
yep.
that he's putting the other ones on hold so he can get the red cat up to par. And then he's going to come back out with the Space Cat and the white cat again.
Right.
But as far as I know, and I'll get more clarification tomorrow, but as far as I know, it's just on temporary pause. It's on a New York pause.
Okay.
Yeah. But
yeah, I love the handle. George was saying I got it with the handle. I love that Space Cat handle.
Yeah, a little thing. Yep.
Yeah, that is pretty cool because mine didn't come with that, but I can get it because
yeah,
it's be the same size. But I'm gonna probably get that handle, just for that because you can also run your guide. It's also a Vixen, so you can run your mini guide scope in it.
Yep.
So I think it's pretty cool.
Dan, that could be 10 years of a pause. I really hope not. I mean, the last 6 months feels like 10 years already, but let's just keep it. Let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a couple of mess ups this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I kind of totally screwed up. So,
how did you screw up?
Since you ask, Eric, I'll tell you. But so I'm doing a class, and I've been doing so much narrowband imaging that I just immediately automatically make my my sequence in narrowband because I've been doing narrowband imaging. I've been doing it all from my house. So my house is a Bortle 8, almost Bortle 9 sky. So I've been doing only narrowband. But you know what? I saw your picture of the shark, which made me want to do the shark.
Okay.
So I said, all right, let me just do the shark because it's there, it's up, it's high. I know I can get it. The telephone wires aren't in the way. So I think we'll be okay.
Right.
So I set up my sequence and I'm trying to teach this lady while I'm doing my sequence, and I just go and I go boom, 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 and I just add the shark to my sequence and whatever. I just go and I go, all right, Shark Nebula, and then I go HA, S2, and O3. And I do them all, and I hit run, and I go. And I begin to teach again. I'm like, okay, you know what?
Problem with this, guys.
Go ahead, Eric.
What's the problem with this picture?
You can say it. Go ahead. You can say it.
The dark shark is a dark nebula. There is no real HA or narrow band in there. It is a broadband target. I would love to see your how if you actually had ran through that whole thing and did calibration frames I would have loved to have seen the finished product of that.
You know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to put it together and see what I got.
Oh, man.
It's going to be nothing, but I mean, it'll just be stars.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I will see. And Mark, no, it's a monochrome camera with the narrow bands in front, but it's like it was moronic. And you know what? That just everybody makes mistakes, and that was just a dumb mistake.
Yep.
And I make a lot of them, and that's okay.
That's a Homer Simpson. Don't.
No.
Oh, God. That's funny.
And then on top of that, I'm starting to yell at PixInsight because I'm blaming it. Once a patch comes out, everyone sits there and yells and screams that it's the patch fault, and that's what I did.
Right.
So I'm sitting there. I'm like, I always use WBPP batch processing, and it never fails, and everything's been perfect until you sent out the patch, and now it's all screwed up. So I go on PixInsight for beginners. I go on PixInsight for intermediates. I go on the Backyard Astro Imaging Club, and I start posting it all over the place.
Right.
So everyone's like, "Hey, look! You know what? Because I posted the log, I saved the log, because I did it I processed this thing like 4 times, thinking that I was going to do, so I changed settings, and I changed the integration settings, and I stopped with the drizzle, and I did it with drizzle, without drizzle, whole bunch of stuff. So I did it about 4 or 5 times. So I saved all the logs, and I posted the logs on a Google Drive, and I sent the Google Drive link out. Somebody actually threatened me saying that I was a Google advertisement. I'm like, this is not a Google advertisement. My data's in there. Go in there and look. Right. So whatever the case may be. So I'm sitting there and I'm yelling, screaming. And I'm like, no, my flats are fine. Da, da, da. He's like, try it without. Somebody said, try it without this file. It looks kind of messed up. Something's wrong with the FITS header. So I said, okay. So I deleted that file. Did the batch pre-processing again.
Mm-hmm.
Failed again. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? I said, this is BS. What's going on? PixInsight. So I went on the PixInsight forum.
Right.
Did the same thing. I threw it on there. They're like, oh, something's wrong with your flats. So I said, all right. So on a whim, I never do this. I blinked my flats. So I'm blinking my flats. And all of a sudden, when I go to S2, it's a white screen. It's a completely white screen, totally oversaturated.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to do anything. Turns out I went back to my sequence. It turns out that somehow, some way, my S2 filter changed to blue. So I was trying to flat an S2 light frame with a blue flat frame that was totally overexposed.
Yeah.
So again, that just goes to show everybody makes mistakes, and I am good at making some really bad ones.
Yeah.
So
I tell you, I was working on the Soul Nebula.
Yeah. I saw the picture. It looked great.
Thanks. And you know what? Even though I did post in Astro with Eric, my channel there, the how to do the Hubble palette. One thing you always have to understand is that even though I have particular settings when I did M16,
mm-hmm.
they're not going to be the same for every image. You're going to have to mess around. And for the longest, I wasn't getting it right. And it gets frustrating, and it turned out that there was also, because I'm using the L Extreme, and I was really nervous that because of the tighter bandpass, that I was, when I was splitting my channels, I was getting some shifting or anything like that. Things just didn't look right. But you live and learn, and I just decided to trash that entire session and just start it all over again. And then we got what we got, that I posted. But One thing that I am excited about, but it's expensive, man, to see because I had no idea it could do this. The OPT Radian Triad Quad Filter. It is a 4 nanometer quad.
Okay, bandpath. Yeah.
And you can use it with F2.
Wow.
I had no idea you can go. I thought personally that 7 nanometer was the limit.
Yeah.
F2. But apparently it's not. So, but it's over 1,000, almost $1,100 for that filter. Probably worth it because it's probably very well worth it because
especially for the RASA.
Yeah, because you're getting such a tight, narrow bandpass of 4 different elements. You've got H beta, H alpha, O3, and S2. You know, the $1,100 or just under $1,100 for it, it's probably worth it because if you look at buying all those same filters.
Yep.
For one
with
shot.
that band pass.
With that band pass,
yep,
you're probably going to be paying, another.
You're probably be paying about $400 a piece, if not more.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So you can be paying close to $1,600. So I could see the value in it. But yeah, it's going to be killer. If I end up I might have to do that next year because right now I've got the L Extreme. I'm happy with it. But when I saw Drew Evans, he has it, and I believe, and then I saw some other people, and I went onto OPT's website and I saw a image of, I believe it was a Rosette Nebula, with a one-shot color using that Triad quad filter. I was like, I was almost like, I'm sold. That's pretty deep. So, but it's
got to go in the other room and ask.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna have to wait for about a year or so. Get into some good graces.
You got to finish paying off that iOptron. So
exactly.
Tim had a quick question about laser collimators. Are laser collimator tools a waste of time or money?
Nope.
I spent $75 on one, and it seems that the cap that came with the 8-inch newt did better than the laser. I've read many posts that say they're a waste of money, and I would tell you the same thing that Eric just yelled. No, they're not a waste of money.
No.
However, all laser collimators are not made equally.
That's right.
If you only spend $75 on one, it's probably not good enough. So I actually have a video that I made, and I I don't know, I think it's just posted on the Camera Concepts website on different laser collimators, and we compared a Howie Glatter collimator, which is the premier ones. It's now made by Farpoint. Farpoint Instruments, and we compared it to a $49.95 Orion Deluxe filter collimator.
Mm-hmm.
And we put it on a roller, on a stable roller, and we put the Howie Glatter on the roller, and we pointed it at a black sheet of paper, and as you rolled it across the level plane, that laser did not move. It did not move at all. It stayed right at the same point on that black piece of paper. However, when you take the $49 Orion and you do the same thing,
right,
the laser light actually turned in a circle like this. So depending on which way you put the laser collimator into your focus tube, you may not be pointed at the center of the mirror.
Right.
So even though you think you're collimated, you're out of focus, bro.
You're out of focus.
So make sure you double check that. Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. The best collimator, or one of the best ones that I've had to deal with, was the Howie Glatter ones. Howie, God bless him before he passed, And now I believe it's Farpoint. I could be wrong, but I think it's Farpoint. Astro Systems took it over. It might be Starlight Instruments. Trying to remember. But somebody took it over after he passed, and they actually are doing a really, really good job keeping up with the precision of the collimator and actually collimating the laser so it stays square to everything.
Okay.
And okay, thank you, George. It's Starlight Instruments now. I apologize. But yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the best ones out there. And I can't say anything bad. I've been using them for 15 years, and they're great.
Okay.
How much would one spend on one? Depends on how bright you want the laser. I believe there's a 675 nanometer, and they make a hybrid now. Unfortunately, they didn't have a hybrid when I bought mine 15 years ago, but it can fit in 1.25 and 2-inch focusers. I believe that's close to $350.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that price, but I'm pretty close on that. I'm pretty sure. But you'll never need another collimator. If you drop it, there's actually set screws in the collimator where you could actually recollimate the laser.
Okay.
So it's a really good product.
I have a collimator because I wanted one for my SCT, and the first one I bought, it was a Celestron collimator.
Yep.
And I tried it.
Excuse me.
And and it was but then I ended
that wasn't a cough about Celestron. I'm sorry. I actually had I actually had some pepper in my throat. I'm sorry.
But I ended up what gave me some success was the Hotech self-centering laser collimator.
Yeah, no, those are really good actually.
It's really good. It was only 100 and I believe 140 or 150 bucks, something like that. And I still have it. I plan on keeping it because I do plan on getting a Richie Cretin scope, and that will every once in a while it may end up needing to be collimated. So I am going to hold on to that. But it was fairly simple to get everything centered, and it worked out for me very well. And then after I got I started it all out because I had an artificial star pointer in the house.
There you go. Astro's out?
Yeah. And I tried it there. Didn't do so great, but then I actually, but just doing the initial work with the Bob's knobs, because I have Bob's knobs on my SCT.
Sure.
And using that collimator into the focuser, into the visual back rather.
Right.
It helped out a lot. And then it got me pretty darn close. And then I actually finished up when I went outside. I took the SCT outside and I finished up everything with Sharp Cap.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You use the beta collimator?
Yeah. So I used that. And it finished everything up there. So it was pretty darn close. And then I tweaked it and I just did my final adjustments with the Bob's knobs through Sharp Cap. But the HS, but that Hotag got me really close to where I should have been. So I just need to practice with it more. That's my only thing. Because I only used it, that was like my first time ever collimating, period. And sometimes that's one of those words that people get nervous about, collimation.
Yeah, people always get freaked out.
Get freaked out. So it's sometimes it's not as nerve-wracking or as bad as you think. You just got to practice, or you just got to learn a little bit, or ask people.
Yeah, once you do it, 3 or 4 times, you'll get it. But this is the Howie Glatter with a concentric circle on it. So this is like it's an add-on. It's $25 add-on that actually makes. I'm sorry, this is the grid one that makes a grid on your mirror. So you could definitely tell if it's flat or not. And this is the 2-inch version.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what costs about $300. And then you got to get something like this. This is the Blug. This is another $200. So you talk about $500 for the whole setup. And what it does is, so if you guys have seen the Orion one, you'll be able to see the reflection of your donut in here.
Yep.
To do the primary. And that's it. So it's really helpful with bigger Dobsonians or bigger Newtonians, where you're actually all got to get down at the bottom of the scope, 12-inch, 14-inch, 18-inch scopes, where you got to see that donut, and the donut's 6 feet away from you, but it's an awesome product. I remember what I was telling you about the set screws on it, and I don't know if you could see them, but actually they have more set screws in it now, but you can see the set screws for the laser.
Okay.
So I've never had to collimate the laser. I've had this for 15 years.
Nice.
I've dropped it. I've nicked it. It never moved. It's never moved. This is the one we used to test on the little roller.
Okay.
And it's straight as an arrow, man. Straight as an arrow.
Nice.
So if you get a chance, get a Howie Gladder, or like you said, the Hotech is really good.
Yeah, it's inexpensive. But the Howie Gladder, it's definitely about, the money, and you get what you pay for, which is what I first started with the Celestron. And nothing in Celestron, it wasn't, even though I was using it with the Celestron SCT, it didn't do it for me. I was really confused in using it, and it's kind of small. That laser and everything, it's really small, so you really can't see the donut and stuff like that. So it made it a little difficult. But
then I'll tell you, I started with one of those Orions, those $49, $39 ones.
Yeah.
And it never worked.
Yeah.
I thought it worked. I thought it was my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But, I was like, I wasn't doing photography either at that time. I was doing a lot of visual.
Right.
But I mean, it's you got to make sure, especially with your Newts and your Dobbs and your Schmitz, you got to make sure that they're collimated correctly.
Yeah.
Or else you never get a good picture. You're never going to get one.
No. But like I said, eventually I'm going to get an RC, especially for Galaxy season.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I'm just scared of the whole RC thing.
Yeah. I might actually look in getting the enclosed optical tube type.
Yep.
Because I've got the CEM60, and I think the max that I can actually go put on that would probably be around that 10-inch RC type. I don't know if I can do a 12 with the CEM60. I think it'll be too heavy. But a 10-inch, I think, would get me some. And I've been using my favorite site, Telescopius, on getting some ideas. I've just been putting in the information so I can get a field of view ideas.
Right.
And it's been looking good. So, maybe 10 inches is just what I need. So
I mean, I definitely need something. I do have a cheap 127 Mac, an old one, that I'm planning on using for planetary.
Okay.
But I've been saying that for 2 NEEFs now, and I have yet to take a picture of a planet yet. So my best planet pick was from my 18-inch Obsession.
Okay.
And it came out pretty well, considering I wasn't tracking I was on Alt-Az. I had my ServoCat going, but for what it was, it came out decent. You know what I mean? I'll post that later, but I mean, it was okay. Don't get me. It's not Dylan O'Donnell caliber, or Damian Peach.
Right.
But for me, I literally, because I wasn't tracking, in Equatorial, I was tracking in Alt-Az. I was taking videos, so I kept on having to bring it back into the other side of the chip, so because it kept on going out of way. So
now I don't know. We talked about this a little bit last week, I believe, about the new ZWO cameras that are coming.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward. If you guys haven't heard, we haven't seen what ZWO has been posting. They posted, I believe, last week the big news that they're bringing out 2 more mono cameras.
Yep.
They're bringing out the ASI 294mm.
Yep.
And they're also bringing out, which one? Is it a 2600 mm?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I was just recently talking, I think it was last week, I was talking what's going to be the successor of the 1600 mm. And the 1600 is a 12-bit camera, whereas now the 294, you're talking 14-bit, and the 2600, now you're talking 16-bit.
Yep.
So now you know that the successor of the 1600, which has been a rock solid mono camera for years.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's been the flagship.
It's been their exactly. It's been their flagship mono camera it's been their top camera for a very long time. But it looks like they finally are going to be able to start making plans to progress away from the 1600 and go with these two new cameras. So I'm kind of excited for those.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited for those. So those would be pretty cool.
What's the chip size on the 2600? Scott's asking if it's APS-C.
I believe it is APS-C. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's a crop center. Yeah.
Tim's asking, I just got an offer on cloudy nights for my CPC 1100. It's been posted for 2 months. I don't want to sell it now. I was thinking about deforking it. 2800 millimeters is hard to give up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's hard to give up, man.
You know what? I always, Tim, I'm sorry. I know you're going to shoot me for saying this. I've always hated the CPCs because they're so big. They got that big frisbee on the bottom. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know if you know what the CPC looks like.
That's the fork mounted SCT.
Yeah, it's a fork mounted SCT, but on the bottom, it's a big circular base.
Okay.
Like, it's huge. It's humongous. It's like 8 inches thick, and it's got all your ports on the bottom, and it makes it so much more awkward to use. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I mean, Mark's like, it looks like a flying saucer. You know, yeah. but it's just, and you know what? Once you got it, as Tim is finding out, not a lot of people want to buy them because I mean, if you're looking to get rid of it, Tim, and you got an offer, and you want to get rid of it, take it because it's going to be on there for another 3 months until somebody gives you another offer because it's just too big. It's too crazy. Mm-hmm. Or to your point, if you defork that thing, and if it's, I don't think they make an edge, but I mean I'm sure it's got the Starbright coatings on it. That's a decent. You could get some really good stuff. Just put a dovetail on it and have a day.
Yeah. Yep.
You put a nice little get a C-Gem dovetail. Yep. And throw it on there, and then you got a really, really cool Galaxy Hunter.
You do, you really do, and I mean, you get a 0.7 reducer if you want, or or you can
you're still over 2,000.
You can get a Hyperstar for that. You can get a Hyperstar for it, because it's probably Hyperstar compatible. You've
CPC
got
CPC might not be. It depends on when he bought it.
Yeah, it depends on when you bought it. But then you can end up having basically 3 scopes in one optical tube.
Yeah.
So there's some opportunity there to take some good advantage of that 1100, man. Especially for Galaxy season, you get that a 7-inch that 0.7 reducer. And just go to town, man. Really. Yeah. And if you really wanted to, even at F10, you would get some. And if you're into it, you can get some great planetary with that.
Oh yeah.
You can get some fantastic planetary with
the resolution. You don't even need a Barlow at that point.
No. You would be golden.
But I'm telling you, I think my next scope is probably going to be that 9 1/4 edge. I think.
Okay.
I think that's gonna be my next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Like I said, right now, at least this year, I'm not looking to get any scopes, but I'm definitely going to look eventually. I'm going to look at that RC. And I'm still just waiting for my peer. It hasn't shipped yet. They
Yep.
invoiced me, but it still
It took
hasn't.
your money and it's just
Took my
waiting.
money, and now I'm just waiting. Because I thought they were going to ship it. It was going to already be shipped when they charged my card, but no.
I'm telling you, it's definitely it's been a game. People could talk all day about the way I put, because I get some not so nice comments about why I have a pier without an observatory and blah blah blah. It's Long Island. Why do you bother? And you know what? And that's fine, and I can take that, and I understand where they're coming from. But I got to be honest with you. It's been the second thing that has transformed my imaging. There's no way. Usually I would get, because I work during the day, so I'm not going to stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning to image. But with the pier and the motion sensors I put in the backyard, I let this thing run all night.
Yeah.
So I'm getting 7, 8, 9 hours a day. A day in the nighttime. We start at 9 and we finish at 5.
Yep.
And I wake up in the morning and I do my flats, and I'm done.
You're done.
And I'm done. I mean, to get 18 or 17 hours of data in a weekend,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. You guys can say what you want about where my peer is and whatever. I'm still getting almost 20 hours on a weekend if I get 2 clear nights in a week. But
no, man. This past week, I've been having I had some great weather. I mean, I had to have at least 4, maybe an entire week, 5 days worth of just clear nights. And man, that's when I took advantage of every freaking night I had. Now we've got storms rolling in. It's going to be a week worth of storms. So, there's nothing coming in. Yeah, I did order some stuff, so that's probably a contributing factor there too.
Sorry, the lightning one that beat the Islanders.
So yeah, but I tell you, I'm looking forward to getting this pier. I've got the tri-pier. The tri-pier is a really solid setup for the
Yeah,
Actron.
sure.
That is a really solid setup.
Oh yeah.
And I'm enjoying it, and it's light. But yeah, I'm going to eventually get an observatory, but you got to get the pier first.
Yeah.
Got to get that all done first.
It's that. The observatory is not in the plans, unfortunately, for me.
Yeah, until you get to Carolina.
Until I get to Carolina, and then that's gonna be a deal breaker as far as what house we buy.
Right.
But it's got to have a decent backyard.
Yep.
But I mean, right now I'm super happy with my setup. The only thing I got to be careful of is the sprinklers and make sure I don't oversleep and the sprinklers go off on my telescope. But how do you factor in pop-up storms when you image and sleep? Oh man, listen, if there is a chance of any sort of rain, I bring the telescope inside.
Yeah.
I bring it inside. There's no way. I can't afford to have that rig get destroyed by rain.
Yeah.
I can't. So literally, there's got to be 0 chance of rain.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was earlier. I think maybe Sunday. They said it was going to be clear skies up until like 1 o'clock in the morning. I said, okay. And then after that, it was like almost like 70, 80, 100% chance of thunderstorms. I said, sorry. I told myself, sorry. I'm not going to risk it, because knowing my dumb luck, I'd fall asleep. And then all of a sudden, my Rasa and my sea, everything would just get drenched. Yep. So I just said, you know what? I'm bringing everything in, and I'm not going to risk it. I would rather take that and get it. I'd rather have a full day a full night of 0% chance than even having a smidge of a chance of a thunderstorm. So.
Yeah, and then don't think that you can't do any imaging before, and then stay up to 1 o'clock in the morning and then pull the.
I'm too tired.
What's that?
I get too tired.
Yeah, you know what? But I'll stay up. I'll be like, I can't. I gotta figure out a way where the weather. I gotta get like a weather station.
Yeah.
With an alarm on it, or something, because I got to figure that. There are weather stations out there that will alarm you if it's starting to rain. But I don't know. I'll figure something out eventually. Right now, I was just worried about the thieves, so I put the motion sensors and a camera back there. So
that's what you got to worry about right now, man. Yeah.
So.
Mark's saying the past few days we have been dealing with thick smoke and from those fires in California, man, that has just been devastating. That whole Pacific coast, man, it's just been devastating.
Oh, it's crazy.
It is absolutely insane.
Yep. I mean, they said something like 300,000 acres.
Yeah. I mean, you got Oregon that's in flames. You got California in flames. I mean.
Well, wasn't that for the last fire in California set off by some fireworks or something?
Yeah, something like that. And then I heard, I don't know if it was the same story or I heard something about a fire was possibly caused by a gender reveal party.
Oh, that's what it was, a gender reveal party. That's what I, yep.
So I'm just like, come on, man.
I mean, have some responsibility. Jeez.
Yeah. Come on, man. I mean,
how big was that fire when it started? Couldn't you just have stomped it out?
I know. That's what I'm saying. I was like, idiots. Seriously, man, idiots. But
yeah,
all that. I hope it was worth it.
Yep.
Now you can tell your baby. Yeah, it was. We wanted to find out. We wanted to let everybody know what your sex was, and at the same time, we caused one of the biggest fires in California and Oregon history.
Yeah, and we got another person that wants to go in on remote imaging.
There you go.
So that's 3. So another third person. So if anybody else wants to chip in, we'll do like an AstroWorld PayPal account and just throw it in there.
Yeah. And hey. We can all get together and set up an account, maybe find, start meeting up with one of these hosting companies and see what deals we can work out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, it's 10 o'clock, guys. So
it's 11 o'clock. I don't know where you are. It's 11 o'clock.
10 o'clock my time, 11 o'clock your time, which means it is late and this man is tired.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got to work tomorrow as well. So
yeah, it's work time. We're all back to it. Labor Day is over. I get no more of those nice summer hours or anything like that, man. It's all straight.
I don't know anything about summer hours.
It's all it's that straight 7:30 until like 5 o'clock crap.
Yeah, you know what? I'm in the restaurant business, so it's an all day thing, so it don't matter.
Yep, I hear you.
George wants to know what the monthly cost is. George, watch. We'll put some stuff up. We're not sure about that. We're gonna do some investigation on that and see what kind of wheeling and dealing we can make, if we can make any.
Yeah, we can make any. Who knows?
But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. And I know a couple of people in my astronomy club that are doing it already. So I'll see if I'm sure you know some people too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I've got some friends and stuff like that who probably doing some of this stuff.
We got people.
We got people.
we got people.
I know a guy.
I know a guy from a friend that we met at the time at that place that we went to.
Exactly. Oh man, but yeah, I'm getting so. But I'm gonna call it night.
Yep, me too, brother.
Because I know you're not much of a fan, but tomorrow is the start of the football season, so.
Well. The person that I was helping with the Andromeda Galaxy, while we were doing the Andromeda Galaxy, was my fantasy football draft.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? An image, do this? She's like, give it to my husband. He'll draft it. He knows football. Said, okay. So he drafted me actually a pretty darn good team. So I was
Okay. There you go.
I was like, all right. So if I told him, I said, if I win, I'll kick him something.
There you go.
But
There you go.
anyway,
All right, guys.
all right, fellas, have a good night. We'll see
Thanks.
you next week on AstroWorld TV, Wednesday, 9 p.m.
Yes. Clear skies, everybody.
All right, guys, have a good night.
Take care.
Bye-bye.